80% of participants can differentiate a sample of Coca-Cola from a sample of Pepsi. An appendage to the same study found that subjects given 3 samples can only guess correctly 33% of the time, that is, the same as random. Now, to me, Pepsi has a sweeter taste. That is, it tastes more like high fructose corn syrup than Coca-Cola, which has the same amount of sugar, but has an olfactory emphasis on the unique flavor of the black colas, that flavor which is unique to the coca leaf. Coca-Cola is the only person, that is, the only corporation, allowed to import coca leaves into the United States. We know that Coca-Cola began with cocaine hydrochloride as its active ingredient, as in opposition to the current addictive substance, caffeine. I wonder what percentages would have shown up on that Pepsi challenge. My personal experience is often strange, which is why I've decided to do these videos, wherein I speak ostensibly on objective topics while leaving opinion out and focusing on the details of my subjectivity. So when I think of Pepsi, I think of, you guessed it, zombies. In one of my favorite films, 140 empty calories 28 days later, survivors of a terrible, rage-inducing plague that has wiped out a large part of humanity suck down Pepsi like the infected suck down human blood and flesh. And this has become my permanent image of corn syrup, corn chips, corn nuts, all of the American snack food. This image of the infected fighter of the Z-words, who is in fact just as lusty and hungry for that which has become sustenance as are the zombies themselves. And you know, it didn't used to be like this. There's no image of good old days here, like in the minds of deluded, starch-suited right-wingers, and there's no image of good ancient days here either, as in the minds of mud-coated hippie liberals identifying themselves simultaneously with the lesser mammals of nature and with vegetarianism. But it didn't used to be like this. Food used to be food, didn't it? Even the cheese meant to represent our nation now is so processed, so modified, that it is required by law to refer to itself as a food product. Not that there's anything wrong with eating some of these food products in moderation. Think back to the survival techniques of the slaves in the 1800s. Some of the parts of pigs they ate in ways they had to process or cook them in order to make them edible probably turn them into food-like product items at best. And even today, I love puffy, infected, toe-shaped cheese flake corn fingers, and I'm not sure whether I could distinguish them from brand-name Cheetos in a challenge situation or not. Sure, the face-off isn't as exciting because my puffs are generic, but so are my Valium. And while I can't tell the difference between brand-name tranquilizers and, well, a semi-truck, I guess that's a different story. But perhaps the analogy stands. Yes, if a food product essentially gives the psychological experience of edible, digestible, chock full of vitamin food without the pesky actuality of nutrition, then perhaps the analogy stands indeed. Now, place in front of me a Marlboro Red cigarette and a filtered Lucky Strike. Are these food products? Obviously not. But I dare say this contest is similar to the Pepsi versus Coca-Cola challenge. Neither soft drink is a food, it is a food product. This means it is not meant to be consumed primarily for nutritional purposes, but rather for enjoyment and or in desperation. Since these food products undeniably control their, let's say, fan bases with an addictive substance, caffeine, not to mention sugar and high fructose corn syrup, and since cigarettes control their customers similarly with nicotine, perhaps the term food product should be used to describe anything which goes in through the mouth but isn't technically food. All gross penis jokes aside, I think again of zombie films. But this time, I think not of the horrors, but of a comedy favorite, Shaun of the Dead. I think of a scene near the end when a friend puts a fag, British for cigarette, in his soon-to-be zombie friend's mouth and lights it for him. It is sucked down ravenously, just the way the sodas were sucked down in 28 Days Later, just as also is blood by the infected in every zombie film. Perhaps we're already infected, but perhaps there's a cure. Now, I don't know whether I can taste the difference between Pepsi and Coca-Cola for sure. And I for damn sure don't know whether a zombie could taste the difference between my blood and yours. But from what I've seen in cinema, zombies can tell between blood that's infected and blood that isn't. And in the same vein, I can taste the difference between Pepsi or Coke and a nice glass of water, or, God forbid, a lightly sweetened green tea. Now, can we tell a hackneyed Coke and Pepsi routine from an insightful one? Well, let's see if the most thought-provoking comments are posted from an iPhone or from an Android, and whether we as onlookers can tell. And if we can't, you must know of the old adage: destroy the brain or separate the head from the spine. These are challenging times. Heaven help us.